Week 11 in the Chattahoochee Valley has arrived as the push for the playoffs reaches its penultimate week with region titles and playoff spots on the line. It's crossover week in Region 4-1A in Georgia as Slide County hosts Pacelli and Marion County hits the road to Taylor County. Beulah looks to clinch its first home playoff game since 1995 versus Pike Road, and Beauregard sets aim at Tallahassee with the 2 seed in 2-5A up for grabs. Auburn has been a powerful unit this season, riding a tough defense to an undefeated run. Central has been a dominant force that no one has been able to stop. It's the third-ranked Tigers and the top-ranked Red Devils for the 2-7A title in our Pepsi PrepZone Game of the Week. The PrepZone preview starts right now. What's up and what's good, party people? I'm Jack Harrison. Welcome you to week 11 of the PrepZone preview, joined by Rex Castillo and Justin Holbrook as we get down to the nitty-gritty in the push for the playoffs in East Alabama and West Georgia. Now, Alabama, this is the final week of the region's schedule, but first, as always, let's run things back to last week where the Opelika Bulldogs, what did I tell you about them, made a statement in the state last week. 59-21 over Stanhope Elmore. I did not see that coming at all.
I have to be honest, this is my first season covering these teams, and when Opelika got off to that slow start, I was thinking that Jack was completely crazy. Both of y'all were crazy. Like, no, they'll make it back. How? Against this? And how do they? And all of a sudden, I am so sorry, Bulldog Nation. Congratulations. What a win and a 5-touchdown performance, huh?
Yeah, Brandon Barnett absolutely goes off in this game. Now, here's the deal. I covered this game.
Yeah.
I was at Auburn first. I was covering the Prattville-Auburn game. And I figured, I'll stay for the first quarter of the Auburn game, and then I'll head over to
safe bet, right?
Opelika. It's typical thing that we do. And then I looked at my phone, 17-0 midway through the first. I sprint out of Duck Sanford Stadium. It was crazy.
Get there as soon as possible.
And by the time I got there, it was 24-0 already. It's like Opelika put on a show in the first half.
Sure did.
Absolutely, and they proved it. They are now the 2 seed out of that region. And how big is that missed field goal against Wetumpka now?
It's pretty big, but I think what's more important is that they scheduled hard games in the beginning to set themselves up for the playoffs.
What they wanted.
So even though they lost to Wetumpka, they are now a team that can beat that team by more than just a field goal, I think.
I'm telling you, this is the most dangerous team in Class 6A in the state of Alabama. No one wants to play this team.
You mentioned Barnett, 5 touchdowns, 4 in the first half.
Come on.
It's set up by an offensive line, though.
Yeah,
and they're doing that for Cade Blackman as well. So I know we want to give all the credit to the running back, as we should, and Cade Blackman's a good quarterback. But that offensive line is the real deal.
Yes.
And they're going to be the unit that probably helps this team the most in the playoffs.
I totally agree with you.
How far can they go, guys?
Auburn's not that far away.
You think?
I think this team has the capability of making a run to Jordan here.
Should be a lot of fun.
We'd like to see it. We'd like to see it.
All the momentum in the world, Bulldogs. Go for it.
Truthfully, I don't. Going back to what you said, I don't think that if we played that Wetumpka-Opelika game right now, it's a totally different score.
Oh, this is a different team than what they were at the beginning of the season.
So, like I said, this is probably the most dangerous team, and a lot of people around the state are starting to realize this team is nothing to play around with.
Oh yeah.
So I think this team is primed for a run. I think this team, more so than they were last year when they made a run I think they went to the Elite 8. I think they're more primed to make a run deep into the playoffs and quite possibly the Jordan-Hare Stadium.
It shows you what continuity can do, too, when you hire a coach from within. He was there for so long, Eric Speakman is what we're talking about. He was there for so long as a defensive coordinator. And when you have a guy that you know and the kids know and the community knows, then that's when you can make that next step. It's hard when you bring a new guy in, nobody knows him, you got to get adjusted, you don't trust him yet.
Change, maybe.
Everybody trusts him because they already knew him, and he's been there for more than 2 decades. So I thought, okay, this is a great hire, and this is where they can step up to the next level, and now we're seeing it.
Absolutely. It's a phenomenal situation that we have going on in Opelika, and I think it is only just beginning for the Bulldogs.
Good luck. Good luck the rest of the way, boys.
Fun to see.
All right, over back in Georgia, Troop, they are number 6 in the state, and they went up against their first real test in the region this year, taking on a Cedartown team that they lost to last year, which ended up costing them a shot at the region title.
Sure.
So, and Troop, made amends this year. They knocked off Cedartown 20-13. It's their lowest point output of the year, but I think it says so much about this team and the resiliency of this team to get punched in the mouth a little bit and be able to not only fight back, but pull off the win against a very tough and very game Cedartown team that pushed Cartersville to the limit earlier this year.
It's good when you have a test like that, because you said 6th in the state. This is the team that was ranked in the top 100 by USA Today in the country.
Yes.
Let that sink in. We have a team about 45 minutes away that's ranked in the entire nation. So it's good when you get tested, because all their games before this, they had won by 2 touchdowns or more.
Right.
This was a 7-point game. They trailed early on. Kobe Hudson threw a pick. Cedartown ended up scoring, took the lead, but then, like you said, the Tigers had an answer. So it's good to see them get tested, and it's good to see a team that's used to winning by a lot have someone that pulls them back before the playoffs start.
Yes. It's one of those ones where I think you learn so much more than you did when you blow out somebody by 21 or more.
Exactly.
And Justin, you've done several reports on this team where how talented they are, how focused they are. From this win, is this the most impressive one you've seen them on so far?
I don't know if it's the most impressive, because I don't know if Cedartown was the best team, but I would say impressive in terms of seeing where they're at resiliency-wise. Yeah. If you get punched in the mouth, do you get back up, or do you say, oh, I don't know what to do? So, I mean, we did see that, though, with Callaway, because Callaway gave them a good game. Troop took the lead, and then Callaway came back.
Yes.
And they made it a very good game in the 4th, and Troop answered. So we've seen them do it before, but not with someone in their region. So it's good to see in region.
Yes, and I feel like this was a great test, because 2 weeks from now, I mean, yes, Troop plays Central Carroll this week.
Right.
You know, if all things go as we assume, that Troop wins that game, it sets up a date in 2 weeks against Cartersville, who is undefeated and a top 10 team in the state, for the region championship in 5-4-A, and that's on the road. And I know Trevor Lawrence isn't there anymore, but Cartersville is still a very, very good team.
But you know, the backup to him was probably still pretty good, so now he's playing this year.
Exactly.
It's a lot of fun to see Troop these days, man. And Kobe Hudson's about to be a wideout in college. Pretty good at his quarterback thing.
Yeah, he's pretty good at it.
Absolutely.
So the whole team's pretty good at it. At the football thing.
The whole team's just all amazing. And the thing is that there's not a ton of seniors on this team, is it?
Not a ton amount, but I think the difference is, I don't know if other people recognize this or say it, but I think Tanner Lisson is a college coach coaching in high school. I think he's talented enough. I think he could go to a school if he wanted to at this point to be an assistant.
Arkansas.
But maybe not head coach right now. He'd have to go up the ranks. Yeah. But I think this is somebody that his career could go that way.
Sure.
But right now he's talented enough to lead a high school team to a state championship, and then maybe from there college. But I think he's college ready right now.
There you go.
Automatic. All right, and last but not least in our running back, we come back to Columbus and to the wild and wacky world of Region 1-4-A, where no one seems to know what goes on week after week.
We absolutely have no idea.
And the latest edition of this was last week, where Hardaway, who essentially was playing for their season, goes and beats Columbus, who had constantly been impressing us week after week after week. It was a low-scoring smash foul affair, and it was a defensive touchdown late by Hardaway that sealed the deal and gave the Hawks the big win that, like I said, not only keeps their season alive, you know, they still have that makeup game with Doherty. They are alive and well in the playoff race in 1-4-A now.
That was an absolute battle, though, right?
Absolutely. I mean, this is one of the games where Columbus had impressed us so much because they were the counterpuncher. They were always the team that, even if they fell behind, you always gave them a chance. Donovan has done such a phenomenal job down there. Coach Marino down there, he has these boys really focused. But Hardaway, this was a team that was fighting every single snap. It was so impressive to see. And I would expect Hardaway just because they've had some heartbreak in the past. This team, man, every single snap was just smash mouth, as you guys said, smash mouth to the definition. I mean, Hardaway would get some interception, or they would swat a pass away. But then all of a sudden, Columbus comes out and strips the ball away, and they got the ball back at the 40. Columbus completes the long pass, but then Hardaway comes back with another great defensive stop. It was insane to see. So, again, that region, I literally have no idea what's going to happen next. It's fantastic to see every week.
Let's kind of give you an update, because, you know, we still have some games to make up due to Hurricane Michael. But here's what we know now. Cairo is still on top of that region. Carver controls his own destiny to the 2 seed in that region. Keep in mind, they still have a game to make up with Westover. Columbus, even with the loss, they are still number 3 in that region. They have Doherty this week on the road. You know, I don't know if everything is back to normal in Albany or not, but I'm going to assume that, you know, they are back up and running, and they'll get that game in on Friday. America Sumter currently holds that 4 spot. They host Westover. That is a big game. We will be there. And Westover is in that 5 spot, and Hardaway is a half game back. Westover has 2 games to make up.
Yeah. God,
So
that's a tough ask, especially this late in the season.
exactly. So we're gonna find out a lot. There's gonna be a lot of games that get made up. And just to round it out, Northside is a couple games back, Shaw is a couple games back, and Doherty rounds out the region, but they have 2 games to make up as well.
The good thing for Hardaway that we've seen is that they can win games that are close. They did it against Shaw, game-winning field goal with 4 seconds left. Then they did it again against a very good Columbus team.
They did.
So then, once again, they're playing Northside this week. They got to win that game.
Yes.
It's a must-win, no doubt.
Yeah.
But what we're seeing from Hardaway is that they're winning close games, and that's what makes you a playoff team.
Exactly.
I think that's a very winnable game against Northside, who slipped a little bit. And I know they lost a tough one to American Sumter, but that team had a lot to play for. So that was one of the most impressive games I've seen.
It's a 3-way battle, I think, right there between Westover, America Sumter, and Hardaway.
Right.
So it's going to be very close.
And you can't leave out Westover yet either.
That's what I meant. That's what I said. Yeah.
So, I mean, but again, it's the character for the Hardaway Hawks to win those close games. As you've mentioned, when you've been there before and you've done that, it's not so shocking when you're back in there this late in the season.
All I know is this is going to be a fun last couple of weeks.
It really
in
is,
that
boys.
region. It's going to come down to the wire to see who gets those last 3 spots.
That last prep zone, we're just like, we have no idea what's going to happen, so let's run the highlights.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. And the Prep Zone preview will be the exact same way.
Of course.
All right. And now let's check in on our eye on the future. We go over to Region 4-1A.
Again.
Where it, because why not? Seriously, why not? It is crossover week in Region 4-1A as we get close to the end of the season. Of course, we already know the region championship game is set for November 2nd between the Slide County Wildcats and the Marion County Eagles. That will take place in Buena Vista. But for this week, it's, like I said, it's a crossover week where teams from the East Division play teams from the West Division. Slide County is hosting Pacelli this week. Marion County on the road at Taylor County. I'll give you the full rundown right quick. Brookstone is at Macon County. Manchester is at Dooley County. Pacelli is at Slide. Greenville is at Crawford County. And Central Talbotton is at Hawkinsville.
A whole lot of good games on that one.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good games, and there's more to come. November 2nd, once we get that schedule finalized, we of course get that out to you. So let's talk about Slide County. You know, they put a punctuation mark on the East Division of that region by pretty much blowing Crawford County out of that stadium last week.
Yeah, I was there for the first 7 minutes of it, and 7 minutes was enough. Jamyron Clayton, he muffed a kickoff and then picked it up and proceeded to run about 70 yards for the touchdown. And then defense is forced to 3 and out.
Right.
He gets a punt, runs it 42 yards inside the red zone. 2 plays later, it's a 10-yard touchdown by Trey Sampson. You've heard this story before.
Yeah.
3 and out. They go back, get another touchdown, drive down the field. This is a talented Slide County team. There's no doubt about it. That's why we had them as our game of the week last week, and maybe next week when they play Marion County.
Right, possibly.
So it's going to be interesting to see what Slide County can do against Marion County. But first, let's focus on Pacelli, which has definitely had a comeback year, and the Vikings are playing for something.
Good
and
for the Vikings.
still have a lot to play for.
Right.
Pacelli is on the bubble when it comes to the 1A private power rankings. I think they are 27th in the recent rankings that came out on Monday. So still a lot to play for as they try to get into that top 24. These next 2 weeks are huge for the Vikings if they want to make a late push towards the playoffs.
They cannot start the game the way they did against Brookstone. If they do, Slide County is way too good, and they'll take advantage of it. And the same thing will happen that happened from Pacelli against Brookstone. So they have to come out of the gates, and it's going to be tough because it is in Slide County.
Yeah, absolutely, and underrated place to play. Like,
Yeah.
How was that environment? A lot of fun?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I mean, everyone see me out there. They're like, "Oh man, it's so cool to have somebody out here," because you know it's a 1A school.
Yeah.
And they haven't had this type of success in a while.
Exactly.
I know that they went to the playoffs last year, but not this record that they have. 7-1 now, 7 straight wins since losing to Marion County. So it's like, you know, they see the news out there, like, "Oh, this is so cool," but it's you deserve it.
Yeah.
You absolutely the Wildcats deserve it. And I think one point that we brought up during the week is we thought these next 2 weeks could potentially be trap games because they're so looking forward to that Marion County rematch.
Yeah.
But this game, I think it showed us in studios that, you know what, they're focused, they know what they have in front of them, they're taking care of business, and now they're just gaining momentum towards that Marion County game.
This will be our last answer if they focus on
Yes.
Pacelli.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And don't forget Marion County on the road at Taylor County as well. Marion County, you know, that could potentially be a trap game too. Taylor County is no slouch. So we'll see how they play over in Taylor County. Over back in Alabama, we are in the final week of the region regular season where playoff spots will be decided this Friday
Where
night.
did the season go?
Who are you telling? We start with Beulah. They are taking on Pike Road. Now the Bobcats, after a similar situation to Slide County, where they haven't had a lot of success in recent years, and now here they are, with 1 win away from a home playoff game, which, if you had told me that going into this season, I'm like, huh? What? So, a great job done by Cody Flournoy and the guys over in Beulah, but they have 1 more to go.
Right.
And this is a Pike Road team who has pulled off a couple upsets this year. So, also in that same area, Beauregard's playing Tallahassee. Beauregard's playing for a 2 seed. Now, Beauregard had a tough start to the season.
They did.
And they have come back big time. They've knocked off a few tough teams. The one that comes to mind really quickly is knocking off Carroll, who was a top 10 team last year.
Right.
So I think now they've finally gotten their rhythm, because the big thing going with Beauregard at the beginning of the season was, what did they do without LaDamian Webb?
Right.
I think they finally found their rhythm.
The best time possible.
At the best time possible. And I think that both of these teams have a great chance. Now, Tallahassee's no slouch either. You know, Tallahassee has played great this year. They were a top 10 team at one point this year. But Beauregard has shown that they can play with the big boys. They played Greenville real tough last week too, even though they fell. Both of these teams have shown that they can easily make it. They might be sleeper picks to make a run into the state playoffs.
It's interesting, the comparison between Beulah and Beauregard, because, like you said, the Hornets had a slow start, and we haven't seen Beulah slow down yet.
Yeah.
It's maybe concerning if you don't see that until the playoffs. You want to see if that, but the good thing for the Bobcats is that they've won all of their games, and the games that are close too. There's been, I think, 1 close game that they did not win.
Yes.
Everything else, it's pretty much come down to the wire, and they've won every single time.
Yeah, that one game was to Bullitt County that it was a close game that they came out on the wrong end of. But with the exception of that St. James game, which St. James is one of the top teams in Class 3A.
Yeah.
With that, and keep in mind that game was very close at halftime.
Yeah.
You know, with the exception of that, Beulah has not only played in close games, but won the close games.
Right, and that's what's important.
Especially as you get ready to look into the playoffs, which Beulah, even if they lose that game, which I think they'll win, but even if they lose, their playoff destiny is pretty safe. With the exception
they did themselves a favor at the beginning of the year.
Exactly. It would take some shenanigans in order for them to miss the playoffs.
And Beauregard's the opposite. You got to win.
Yeah, Beauregard, they can clinch the 2 seed with a win, but their playoff destiny is not guaranteed if they lose.
Right, so that's why it's good to win early.
Absolutely.
And these last couple of weeks for all of our area teams, just all the implications that we have going on. How much fun is this?
Oh man, it is a lot
Crunch
of fun.
time.
Crunch time for real, though.
It is the push to the playoffs party, people. And speaking of, let's go over to Region 27A, where things are about to get really real, really quick. So let's start with Prattville and Smith Station.
Right.
Now, currently, Prattville hosts the 3 spot in that region.
Gotcha.
Smith Station is in the 5 spot. By the end of Friday night, they could be tied. So Lee Montgomery is currently occupying the 4th spot. They are on a bye week this week. So
Worst place to be for them right now, right?
So here's the deal. At Prattville, they're in with a win.
Gotcha.
Lee Montgomery, the biggest Prattville fans right now, because if Prattville wins, Lee is in.
Gotcha. So it's already set.
But if Smith Station wins,
Oh boy.
we have ourselves a 3-way tie for the final 2 spots in 2-7-8. Oh, man.
I'm rooting for chaos. Why not?
Now, a couple weeks ago, I went and I started going through the AHSAA rule book and started to go through the tiebreakers. I gave up at about the letter N. That should tell you what is going to take to figure out who's going to get those 2 spots.
Again, I root for chaos. Why not?
I do too.
Chaos is the order today.
So, but again, let's talk Smith Station. This team went absolutely winless last year.
Yeah.
No,
Oh,
not
okay.
even close. Not even sniffing to this.
I mean, we're talking about a team that I think scored 35 total points last year.
So at this point, Prattville has played Central and they played Auburn and lost significantly. But Smith Station has proved, at least for a half or at least for a quarter, they can keep up with Auburn and Central. I think Smith Station, this is a more winnable game than some may think.
I know, I think so too.
And the fact that it's at Smith Station, this guy's going to be over there covering
That's
it.
right.
So, you know what, Smith, if they can just get out of their way, just get out of your way, execute, and I think they have the talent. I think they
so too.
absolutely have the ability to do this. So, I think we're all aboard, rooting for chaos.
I think
Absolutely.
the best part about the Smith Station team is their defense. That's going to be
Yes.
the key. The offense will take care of itself. Sometimes they've had some slow games. The defense is what has kept them in the games like Auburn, like Central early
At least
on.
for a half.
So if they do that beginning in the half, that's what's going to help propel the offense. So it's going to be, can the defense keep doing what it's doing while the offense respond and do things quicker than what they've been doing? Those are the
So
two
you say
keys.
pick up the tempo.
Pick up the tempo for offense. The defense Keep going as you were.
Yeah.
But those are going to be the two keys to the game for them.
Absolutely. And no doubt in my mind, Panther Stadium is going to be rocking Friday night. We're talking about Smith Station hasn't made the playoffs in, I believe, 5 years or 6
Yes.
years.
Section, bring it.
Five
Five
years.
years. Yeah.
So this is their moment right here. This is Smith Station's moment, a moment that we honestly did not think we would see coming this quickly.
We paused and picked them to talk about Kentucky and reflect on it. How about Smith Station?
Yes.
0-10, and now their number 5 could be in a tie for the playoffs.
Yes. Could be
incredible.
Could be in the playoffs
under a first-year head coach.
at the end of Friday night under a first-year head coach.
It's awesome.
Going from
Community that absolutely deserves.
Don't make the playoffs. Make the playoffs. It doesn't matter. This has been a great
this
season.
has been a remarkable season.
They should be proud.
Win or lose for Smith Station, and as you said, they should be.
Head coach
very
Mike
proud.
Glisson, just a little insight. These boys, he mentioned that his team, they got mocked around the community when they went to play other teams, or even they get mocked in their own high school. Just because when you go 0-10, there's nothing really to be proud of.
Yeah.
Now, not only are they proud football players, not only is their families proud, but this entire community's behind them.
Exactly.
We have a coworker, Justin, not this guy, who is a Smith Station parent, and he's just every single week. It's amazing to see him light up.
Yes.
When he talks about the Panthers' spirit around there and just the environment around game day.
Compared to last year.
Compared to last year, where it was just a headache every other game.
In a synopsis, this is what it is. When I cover Central first, then I go to Smith Station on a Friday night, I have an incredibly hard time finding parking now at Panther Stadium, and that
great.
should say something.
That's
That
absolutely
means
great.
football matters in that town, in that community, and that is what it's all about.
Exactly. And speaking of you going from Central to Smith Station,
Another great assignment for that guy.
it is our Pepsi PrepZone Game of the Week, and my word, it does not get any bigger than this one.
Finally, it's here.
We have had this penciled on the calendar since the day they released the schedules. Number 3 Auburn, number 1 Central, the Region 2-7A title on the line, and oh baby,
Get your popcorn ready.
this one will be fun.
Yeah.
Where do we start, guys?
So I'll start with my conversation with Coach Weingarten, and he was comparing last year to this year. Last year, they played Central in their first region game. Now they had an entire season to go through the region schedule, to go through the regular season, and prepare for Central. Because that game, we saw the Red Devils just absolutely take over.
Right.
Now Auburn had some experience with younger guys, and they're ready for this game. Will it make a difference? That's the question. Will having experience in region play compared to last year to this year be the difference for Auburn? I don't know, but I know that it's going to be much closer than that game was last year.
Well,
but Central has won 5 times in a row.
Justin, if it gets any closer, this game is going to be absolutely insane. It was a 6-point game last year. It was 34-28.
And I think it will be. I think it's just going to be a back and forth game.
Oh my gosh.
Coach Weingarten also has an incredibly high standard for that team, even undefeated. And I'm sure he said this again. They still haven't played a perfect game.
Yeah.
He has such a high standard for this team, and I think whether he'll admit it or not, I'm sure that 6-point loss means something today.
Oh yeah.
So both sides of the ball in this game: D1 talent, Power 5 talent,
SEC talent.
SEC talent. Mahmoud Diabate, Under Armour All-American. I want to see what he can do to lead this unit against Peter Parrish and Amante Spivey, and just the plethora of weapons they have out there.
Exactly. And that Auburn defense was swarming Friday night.
I mean, I don't know if they want to admit it because, again, you want to focus on week per week. You want to focus on the economy. This game means a lot to both communities, and I think it means even more to these players.
And
this is going to be fun. I'm so jealous of you, Justin.
God, yeah, man. How much would it take for me to switch with
How big's that suitcase got to be?
You did ask me where do we start. We start with the start of the game. That's where Central has struggled the most.
Yeah.
And that's
that's the one weakness they have.
that's where
right?
Auburn has shined.
Yes. You're
So
absolutely right.
that is where we start. If
If you're
they
Auburn,
can do
you
that,
take the ball?
I would say I would let the defense go out because
Okay.
Central has struggled on offense in their first couple of series, and they generally take a little bit of time to get it going. If the defense can make a statement right out the bat, 3 and out, or maybe 2 series, and get them off the field, then that shows Auburn, hey, we can be in this game again.
And I'm totally with you on that because I think the last thing you want to do, that crowd is going to be absolutely lit at Gary Harrison Stadium on
I
Friday
can't
night.
wait.
Both sides.
Both
Both
sides.
sides, yeah.
So I think
We'll compare Auburn Central to the Jacksonville game to Florida, Georgia. Maybe right on point.
Yeah, there you go. I don't think you give if your defense can go out there and take the crowd out of it, and
From
then
the start.
and then your offense could go follow up your defense and go down and score. Then you set the pace tempo for how you want it.
Sure.
Whereas you're playing from ahead rather than playing from behind.
Right.
So
I will say that Diabate is one of those defensive players who I think has the stamina, endurance, and speed to keep up with what they have back there. Because
Exactly.
Peter can hurt you with his legs, and so can Amante, obviously.
Yeah.
But with all those, I think he's the one guy that can constantly be there, at least bother the quarterbacks in the fourth quarter.
I think this game comes down to the trenches, guys. I really think this game comes down to the trenches.
I would counter that with saying Griffin Speaks is a good passing quarterback. The problem will be that all of the defensive backs on the central side are D1 talent
Exactly.
players. That is where the crux is right there, because Tucker Melton comes in, he can air it out. Peter can run the ball. Auburn does not have the same secondary that Central does. Nobody does. It's not fair. It's not fair to compare that.
No.
But the thing to look out for will be, can Griffin throw the ball against guys that are going to be playing Division I college ball in a
He's
year
going
or
up
two?
against a college.
So
secondary.
that's really the biggest concern. The biggest concern for Central is starting off slow. The biggest concern for Auburn is, can we mix in the passing game against that secondary?
That conservative, because if they go too conservative, that'll play against you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But we've
absolutely.
seen Coach Weingart on this team. They're aggressive.
But Griffin can run too,
And-
and they have a good
and-
running game.
And I think you have to be aggressive.
Yeah.
I think you cannot be conservative in this game.
not-
I don't
Jason
think they will be. Yeah, I don't think they will be.
You can't afford it.
Yeah.
Because conservative gets you killed in this game.
And they weren't last year either.
No. All I know is this one will be a shootout. This one will be fun. This will be the game of the year in our area.
And it's the fourth time in 5 years the region title has been at stake.
Exactly. And the one thing that Auburn wants to change, Central has won every single one of them.
They
You
have.
hit it. That's it right there.
That, ladies and gentlemen, that is our Friday night tailgate
I
game of
will
the
buy
week.
your Mega Millions if I can switch it.
I'll go win Mega
Only
Millions.
if I win.
I'll go win Mega Millions, and then I'll give you the.
You know what? That's the right order.
I'll watch that game on an island.
that you just bought.
That's right.
Oh, mercy me. That's our tailgate game of the week. This lucky guy gets the assignment of a lifetime. He'll be at Gary Harrison Stadium 5 and 6 o'clock. Plus scores highlights of more on the PrepZone preview at 11:15, 10:15 Central, presented by WOW right here on News 3. We will update you on everything playoff related as we get closer to playoffs. We'll tell you who's in, who's out, and who's still left standing in Georgia.
Got a lot of homework that week.
Oh, man, I'm going to be one busy man back there. There's going to be smoke coming out of my computer back there, trying to figure out who's in and who's out. So, and also, no teams hitting the road this week, but of course, stay with us on WRBL and on Twitter at WRBL Sports. We'll get those up for you. We'll be following all of our teams that are on the road. Spencer's got a biggie at Bremen. So, just to name a lot of big games going on.
Jordan Callaway on Thursday.
Yeah, Jordan Callaway.
We've got a game moved up. That's going
Up
to be
to Wednesday, right?
Yeah, that's going to
Yes.
be the Cairo game.
Yeah,
that's gonna-
Cairo at Shaw at
Shaw.
Connect Stadium.
Yep, that's on Wednesday now.
Yeah, so so many.
And Columbus at Doherty.
Yeah, Columbus at Doherty.
So we'll have you covered.
And then on top of that,
right
we
here.
still have games that we still have to make up.
Right.
If we hear anything about that, WRBL Sports on Twitter will be the first place.
If you want to send us coffee, it's always appreciated as well.
yeah, coffee, Gatorade, anything.
Anything.
Yeah, so like
care
I said-
packages.
Oh man. But anyway, so stick with us on social media. Follow all of us on social media. We'll get you covered. Until then, until next week, the final week of the regular season next week, week 12. I'm Jack Patterson.
Go out and enjoy the games. That's the line.
This man's been working hard. Rex Castillo, Justin
Justin.
Holbrook. We will have a lot of fun for you guys. Go out and enjoy the game.
That's what happens when you're doing this after working a morning shift. See you next week, guys, on the PrepZone preview. As Justin said, go out and enjoy the game.
Get him some coffee.